Dear aspirants, welcome to our channel. Today I am going to discuss Anti-Defection Act and its relevance. It is useful for polity and also relevant for current affairs section of general studies. Now, what is the significance of this act? The Anti-Defection Act was inserted in the Indian Constitution through 52nd Constitution Amendment Act 1985 with 10th schedule. Now, why it is in news recently? The Anti-Defection Act is in news recently because of the fall of the government in Puducherry. In Puducherry, the members of the legislature belonging to the ruling party resigned, so the government could not succeed in the passage of no confidence motion. As it lost majority, the ruling government resigned. Now, the Anti-Defection Act, we have to study the provisions of the Anti-Defection Act before going into the relevance. Now, what are the provisions, the key provisions of the Anti-Defection Act? Now, the main provision is, if a member voluntarily gives up the membership of the political party from which he got elected, it will lead to disqualification. So, the first point is, if a elected member of the political party voluntarily resigns from the membership, it will lead to disqualification. And the second most important provision is, if a member abstains from voting or votes against the whip issued by the political party, and if his action is not condoned by his party within 14 days, it will lead to disqualification. And the third provision is, if an independent member joins any political party, it will lead to disqualification. The fourth point, if a nominated member joins a political party after 6 months of becoming a member of the house, it will lead to disqualification. So, these are the four important provisions based on the grounds for which the members will get disqualified. Now, there are certain exceptions to these provisions. So, what are the exceptions? First one is related to merger. Merger means, if 2/3 members of a political party resigns from their parent party and merge with another political party, then they shall not be disqualified from being a member of the house. That means, if 2/3 members of a political party, they resign from the membership of the party and merges or joins with another political party, it will not lead to disqualification. And the second exception is related to split or splinter groups. That means, if 1/3 members of a political party resigns from their parent party and form a splinter group, then it will not lead to disqualification. Here, the most important point we have to remember is regarding the exceptions. These exceptions to the Anti-Defection Act is being misused by the political parties and causing political instability recently. This is the reason why most of the governments are losing majority and leading to political instability in many states. Okay. Now, the most important provision regarding Anti-Defection Act is, to plug the loopholes in the working of the Anti-Defection Act, the government passed the 91st Constitution Amendment Act in 2003. What this act says? It says that to plug some of the loopholes found in the Anti-Defection Act, the members of the legislature it limits the size of Council of Ministers to 15% of the lower house at the center and in the states. That means, the 91st Constitution Amendment Act has included Article 71(1)(a) in the Constitution, and it also gave an exception to smaller states. For example, the smaller states like Mizoram and Sikkim can have a minimum of 12 members to give adequate representation to all sections. And the second provision added by the 91st Amendment Act 2003 is, It debars a defector from holding any remunerative political post for the remaining tenure of the legislature unless he is re-elected. That means we have to understand what is remunerative political post. Remunerative political post means the salary or remuneration is paid out of public revenue under a body which is wholly or partially owned by the government of India or government of the state. So, this is the most important provision included by 91st Amendment Act. It debars a defector from getting elected or from being a member of the cabinet. That means he should get re-elected to the assembly after getting disqualified. Now, what is the role of the speaker in the working of Anti-Defection Act? The speaker is the sole authority to decide the question of disqualification on the ground of political defection, and his decision is final and binding. Now, whether the decision of speaker is judicially reviewable or not, that means if his intentions are mollified or his decision is partisan or politically not neutral, that means politically biased, will it lead to the intervention of the court to decide the independency of the speaker? That means the speaker's decision is judicially reviewable under the constitution. It is subject to appeal in High Court and also Supreme Court. This case is being clarified in the Quixote-Holohan case of 1992 by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court in 1992, Quixote-Holohan versus Jachiliu and others, held that the law does not violate any right or freedom of speech of legislators or the basic structure of parliamentary democracy. This is a brief note on the Anti-Defection Act, its provisions and exceptions. Now, what is the significance of this act? The significance is, after the passage of 91st Constitutional Amendment, some of the loopholes in the Anti-Defection Act has been rectified. Now, the fear of re-election of the member after getting disqualified acts as a check on large-scale corruption and horse trading by the legislators. And the second point is, reducing the size of Council of Ministers saves public money, because when the members of the political party resigns from the parent party and joins another political party, naturally it leads to the formation of the government and it offers new cabinet ministers or new political posts to the members who got defected. So it will lead to expansion in the size of Council of Ministers beyond the limits mentioned in the Constitution. Then it will lead to financial loss to the state exchequer. Now, the next important point is, it prevents to some extent the political instability in the political parties and government, and it will also strengthen the functioning of democratic polity. Now, here, what is the criticism or what are the implications of this Anti-Defection Act and after the passage of 91st Constitutional Amendment Act? Here, the most important point that is being experienced recently is the role of the speaker. The speaker's role should be impartial. The speaker, though he belongs to the ruling party, he should function in an impartial and unbiased manner. But in some of the cases, the speaker is acting on the dictates of the ruling party which is in power. The provisions of the law has been differently interpreted by the speakers in different states to suit the political needs of the parties. So that is a major defect in the working of the Anti-Defection Act. And the second important aspect is, it inhibits the legislators from following the dictates of their conscience, which is the essence of a democratic polity. That means the members, either MP or MLAs who got elected, they are not having independent freedom of thought, independent conscience to express their views on any important public policy matters, and they should follow the directions given by the party. In this aspect, they are not having independent role in deciding some of the questions important policy decisions in the legislature. Now, the Act has not defined clearly about the application of two-thirds majority rule in case of second and subsequent splits in the legislature party. And it allows the nominated member to join a political party within a period of 6 months after his nomination. And the most important point here is India is a diverse country and members who represent their constituencies needs to be given a voice